Hello, and welcome to another installment of AI features in the Blackboard Learn Ultra LMS. Now, so far we've seen that instructors are able to auto-generate question banks. They're able to auto-generate learning modules and rubrics, along with sourcing royalty-free images. Now, since then, an article was published in the anthology White Papers that brought up a very important topic of authentic assessment. So at Anthology, the developers and the product managers asked, what is AI not good at, which may help to draw out students in certain assessments to make the assessment more authentic. Now, the great thing about the new functionality that I will demo in just a moment is that you can update the prompts, you can change the assignments a lot more often, and that alone helps to keep the assessment authentic. So let's take a look at two new pieces, and that is authentic assessment for discussion forums and for journals. Now, in the course, we will navigate to discussions, and unlike in the previous demos, we started with an empty course, and we were just starting from scratch, which is probably the case less often for instructors. Now we're going to take an existing discussion forum and see if we can improvise on it, if we can make it authentic and kind of spice it up so that each semester with relative ease we can have a new assessment. In this instance, I have a few discussions here, maybe an FAQ, introductory discussion. But let's start with this one specifically on budgeting. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this assessment. Because I don't want to create a new discussion, but I would like to simply spice this one up. I would like to change it up, refresh it. I'm going to copy the prompt for this discussion. And now, of course, we're going to navigate to the AI button. And so the two stars, sometimes there's the word generate in front of it. The two stars are kind of the icon for AI in the Blackboard LMS Ultra. So we'll go ahead and activate it. So now by default, the discussion is being generated from the course name. And so likely we're going to have some options. Notice that the Inspire Me is pre-selected. So this means that from the start, the discussion is going to be at various cognitive levels. Now here is kind of the magic of this new feature, that we now have different cognitive levels that we can specify. So at the very simple level, apply, which means tell us what you've learned. Then analyze. So we are going to take things apart and we're going to try to look into something further. We're going to look at evaluation. So let's take something and maybe compare two different things. And then create. So let's provide an artifact. Now let's go ahead and paste in our discussion and demonstrate how it works. So now I've pasted the discussion as it now exists, and I asked to be inspired. And I have three new options at the analyze level, at the create, and evaluate. Let's look at the analyze level. And by the way, this discussion is about budgeting. And the simple prompt, after all the instructions that I provided, the actual prompt is, what are some things that you have learned this week about budgeting? Share some tips you've learned related to budgeting with the rest of the class for credit. So this would be at the apply level. And this is a fairly standard discussion forum. Let's elaborate on what you have learned, and we're hoping that the discussion, the questions that students ask is going to deepen the conversation, maybe reach the other levels of cognitive thinking. So let's look at the analyze as suggested by the AI design assistant. It says, share budgeting strategy that you've learned about this week and analyze its effectiveness in helping you manage your finances. Consider factors such as the level of detail involved, the ease of implementation, and the potential impact on your financial goals. Support your analysis with examples or real-life experiences. Now, a couple of things that's happening here. One, the analysis level is implemented. So we're going to provide a topic, not just kind of repeat the topic as our original prompt specified, but we're going to ask for a budgeting strategy, and then we're going to help the student to take it apart. So think about its effectiveness and how it will help you manage finances. The second thing that the AI assistant did here is it said used real-life experiences. And so this helps us to have the student think about what happened to me that relates to this topic. And so this is going to be a nice way to make sure that student experiences are authentic and are coming, at least the student is thinking about it, and we're connecting to their life experiences. Now, the second level is at the create level. So we'll look for an artifact at the end. Imagine you're helping a friend create a personalized budget, create a step-by-step guide that outlines the essential components of the budget. So here the nice part is that the friend could be anybody, right? So every student can customize it to whoever they selected as a friend. Maybe it's an imaginary friend that is really struggling. So the personalized budgets are going to be in various strategies, and they also are going to apply to different people. Then it says, consider different income sources, expenses, savings, financial goals. Feel free to include visuals like diagrams or infographics to make your guide more engaging and easier to understand. So the guide itself is the artifact. And then, of course, there are some suggestions for infographics. Great idea. Again, I can press the generate button multiple times to get others, but it's a very nice kind of higher level thinking assignment. And then evaluate, it says evaluate 2 budgeting tools or apps that you have come across this week. Compare and contrast their features. So here is again where the evaluate process is going to not just repeat what you've learned, but it'll take a couple of things and help you compare them. And the idea is right on the money within the subject matter. Really like this option. Let's see what happens if we adjust it to some degree. So we are now going to look at the introductory discussion forum. So the introductory discussion forum in this particular class, well, I'm going to navigate to it just to show you what it looks like. Let's discard this, and we're going to come back to, this is the introductory discussion forum, and this forum is quite kind of rigid, specific. So it talks about a discussion. There are some recommendations, some specific things that we ask the student to share. And, you know, we use words like I strongly encourage. And so that sets a little bit of a tone, right, for the student, maybe not as inviting. You're strongly encouraged in an introductory forum. So let's see what options are available here. Again, we have the apply, evaluate, and create level. So 3 levels. And notice too that we retained the standard complexity. Now, I also maintain the Inspire Me just so that we can see the differences in the demo. But certainly, if you would like to stay with a basic introduction, you can select Apply, or you can select Create for the higher level. So let's start with Apply. It says, share your future goals and aspirations with the class. What a nice idea that instead of saying, give me your name, give me, we're saying, what are your aspirations? We're often so busy while creating a new course that we don't get into this level of detail. And so it's nice to refresh the instruction forum or the introduction forum the next semester. What do you hope to achieve personally, professionally? Reflect on the steps you plan to take to reach those goals and any challenges you anticipate. Additionally, consider including a real-life experience or work-related experience that has shaped your goals. By sharing your goals, experiences, and challenges, you may provide valuable insights and inspiration to your classmates. Really nice language that keeps us with a nice tone and very inviting. And of course, it mentions experiences, and that's where the authentic assessment again comes in. Now, this is an introductions discussion forum, so not a high stakes grade or assignment, but it keeps that authenticity working for us. So then evaluate. It says share your journey that led you to college. Reflect on challenges and achievements. Nice. So now we are going to list some challenges, list some achievements, and then evaluate them. So we're going to make some comparisons. In a very simple assignment, we are trying to have students think critically, think a little bit at a higher level. And then create. So introduce yourself to the class, and then we provide specifics, perhaps because we are focusing on creating artifacts. Additionally, briefly explain what you'd like to be when you grow up and share the standout memory from your time on campus. Finally, let us know any hobbies, interests you would like to share with the class. Feel free to include a photograph of yourself to your Blackboard profile to help us put faces to names. Hey, great idea. If this is an introductory course, perhaps students did not complete their profile yet, and so this is a nice way to have them create something and actually for it to be useful in other classes. And now let's look at a few other options. We've increased the complexity. As you recall, the complexity slide allows you to go from elementary to high-end course levels at a university. So let's see how this changes the language. Notice in the introduction for evaluation, introduce yourself and share your academic journey, right? So academic journey is something that, say, graduate students or maybe students in more advanced classes are going to understand. But again, a nice way for us to specify the cognitive level, and then the cognitive level is suggested with each introduction. Now I'd like to switch to the journal tool. So when working with journals, we're going to create either a one-time journal, so let's say that this is just one assignment in the whole semester, or maybe a repeating assignment. And journals are very underestimated, I think, in higher education. In my personal experience as an instructor, I had a student come back at the end of the semester and say that that was the most interesting and the most memorable assignment in the course. Now, the students are able to organize their thoughts. They are able to review what they've learned. Because of spaced repetition principle, they're able to remember things longer when they reflect on them. And journal, of course, opens a new door for communication with the instructor, and it can be implemented in a fairly sustainable way. So there are some tips and tricks for journals. But let's see what happens here. Because for this journal, I did not provide any description, it simply took Introduction to Personal Finance as the topic. So let's look at the lowest level. It says, consider your financial priorities and the impact they have on your decision making. Write a journal entry discussing your top 3 financial priorities and how they affect your financial choices. Reflect on how these priorities may differ from someone else's and the reasons behind those differences. Include real-life experiences or mock scenario to illustrate your points. Write journal entries on a weekly basis. So here we have a journal entry that asks the student to consider their financial priorities. And as these change throughout the semester, of course, the journal would reflect that. This could be a one-time journal as well, but notice the apply level. In other words, we are asking the student to repeat something and share it with us. Now let's look at the evaluation level. So examine your spending habits and identify areas where you can make improvements. Write a journal entry, analyzing your spending patterns, focusing on any unnecessary expenses or impulse purchases. So now we're going to evaluate between necessary and unnecessary expenses. So this prompt really helps to create a nice evaluation contrast experience for the student. And then at the create level, develop a comprehensive financial plan to achieve your long-term financial goals. Write a journal entry outlining your plan, include specific steps and strategies. Analyze potential risks and obstacles that may arise. Propose effective solution. Use podcast speech format or a video to deliver your financial plan. Write journal entries on a monthly basis. So we can, of course, again, adjust how often they are written. But notice the word develop, right? So we have a Bloom's taxonomy, a higher level assignment, and then it includes even multimodal experience with a speech, so an audio recording, or maybe with a video. Beautiful way to kind of get the journal up a notch and end up with an artifact at the end. Well, here it is. We looked at auto-generating journals, auto-generating discussion forums, but most of all, these tools can be used to refresh your course. You don't have to kind of wait until you're developing a new course. You can spice up, you can improvise on a current course and make the course assignments authentic. So in a way, to some degree, generative AI proof, but really encouraging students to look at their own experiences and look at perhaps higher level thinking than just listing what it is that they have learned. Thank you very much.